Not a matter of if, but when crisis will rock your world. I'm Roshini Rajkumar, crisis strategist, licensed attorney, and host of The Crisis Files. In each case file, we dig into methods to improve how you live life. Michael Mackie is Kansas City's media darling. He has interviewed more celebrities than we really have time for in one episode. In his first book, he takes the reader deep into many of those interviews, but also shares huge life lessons gained along the way. Michael is here for the case file I call You Have 4 Minutes. Your book, You Have 4 Minutes, My Life as an Unlikely Celebrity Interviewer, is really a blueprint for life.
Facts.
Facts.
And facts.
It
and
really
then some.
is. I read it. I enjoyed it. You're one of the funniest people. We go way back, which we'll get into later, but you are truly one of the funniest people I know. And so to read your book, I was laughing. I mean, sometimes crying. I mean, there's a lot there. Let's first start with, how did you become this unlikely celebrity interviewer?
You know, it's funny. It started 100 million years ago back at the television station where we met at KCCI, Iowa's news leader.
In Des Moines, Iowa.
In Des Moines, Iowa, right? And I think it was just me being in the right place at the right time. Also, to people who are watching this podcast, literally, no one ever wanted to do a feature story or a celebrity interview. No reporter ever wanted to touch that because that news station was just like,
it was really murder, mayhem, chemical spills. Those were the things that we reporters like to
flood,
cover.
Famine, pestilence.
Yes,
no
exactly.
one wanted to do any
severe
sort of
weather.
Oh, for sure. So I remember one day the assignment editor just yelled out, "Oh, I forgot we have this celebrity coming in who wants to do it." And it was like cockroaches when you turn the lights on. Reporters ran out of the newsroom. And I was like, well, I'll do it. And he was like, "You're not a reporter." I'm like, who else do you have? and I was like, well, who's the celebrity? He's like, "I don't know. She's in the bathroom getting ready." And I turn around and there, like, I don't know where she came from. I think she rappelled down from the ceiling. There was Joanne Worley from Laugh-In, who
Wow.
I barely knew. And so my first celebrity interview was with Joanne Worley.
Kind of a
Laugh-In.
comedy legend for people a little older than we are, but still.
Right.
She was on her circuit tour, and there you were.
And ask me if I asked her one question that was germane to why Joanne Worley was in town, because I did not ask her one. It was the worst celebrity. It was the worst. I can't believe they asked me to keep doing it. But then the next week it was like Sherman Hemsley from the Jeffersons, and then Dennis Weaver. It was like a who's who of B and C list 70s and 80s stars. And I don't know why they were parading through our TV station in Des Moines of all places, but that's how I got my start.
That's how you got your start. And then it just kind of continued to grow, and you went on to Kansas City and worked and where you still live. But what are some of the things that, like your title of the book and of this episode, You Have 4 Minutes, you literally, from start to finish, you are clocked. You have 4 minutes. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk with you today, Michael, is because in life, I'm big on less is more. There's not a lot of time in 4 minutes, yet if it's not a good conversation, it could feel like forever.
Again, facts. I always try to do a lot of research so that those 4 minutes are not 1 nanosecond is wasted in that interview. Like, I'm sure I'll get the perfunctory, why am I talking to you today? Like you have a new movie or a new album out. But then I kind of want to make, I want to make an impression. And I certainly don't want to ask the same exact question that every other entertainment reporter has asked you ad nauseum. So.
And you have interviewed, I mean, literally, the list is endless. But some of the favorites of yours also kind of became the favorites of mine as I read the book. And we've got to start with Lindsay Wagner, the bionic woman herself.
Oh, can we talk about Lindsay Wagner? Okay, first of all, as a boy of a certain age, I was obsessed with the bionic woman. And then when I found out that she was coming to Kansas City, I put all my efforts and energies into getting this interview with her. And finally, it came to fruition. And something happened. It's my favorite chapter in the book. Something happened right before the interview where I think I had a series of mini strokes right when she walked up to the the television, right when she walked on stage. I shut down. I stopped
Were
functioning.
you
And
starstruck?
because that was Lindsay Wagner. Like I had the doll, man.
But
I watched
everything I
every
know about you, you are the last person I think I know in the world who would be starstruck.
I'm not. I'm never starstruck. But celebrities put their pants on one leg at a time. But there was Lindsay Wagner, and she was so like Gaussian and ethereal, and she was like, "Hello, I'm Lindsay Wagner," and I swear my tongue swelled to like 50 times its normal size, and I was like, "Ah, like it was awful."
So did you get anything in those 4 minutes that were usable?
Yes, because before this is so crazy. Before we started the interview, she's very woo-woo. She did this tapping exercise on my face. Lindsay Wagner touched my face and did a
Wow.
tapping exercise on my face until I was I don't know, lucid again with it.
So you
So and then it turned out to be an amazing interview. And then she asked me if she had time to kill, could I drop her off and grab a bite to eat with her?
Oh my
And
God, you
so
had lunch with the bionic woman.
we had brunch. We
You
had
had
brunch, and
brunch.
I took her to a
Even
weird
bigger.
we went to a weird place because she was like a vegan and there were all these like dietary restrictions. And so then my guard is totally down and her guard is totally down because we're sharing like I don't know, we even know what we were eating, vegan, whatever. And then I got to know her and I was like, I'm literally sitting here with my childhood idol breaking bread. And I thought that I will never top that in a million years. It's
It's
also,
hard.
again,
Yeah, go ahead.
it's also, again, the longest and the best chapter in the book. Hint. So there you go.
It is a great chapter. And the thing is, you have talked with people, you've kept your cool, other than the beginning of that interview. People like Martin Short, comedian Kathy Griffin, John Ritter. That's one I want you to share because such a legend. To many of us, you didn't even have to be a child of the 70s and 80s. You know who John Ritter is. His son is now an actor. I mean, too soon he passed away,
Too
but you
soon.
got to talk with him.
The thing with John Ritter is that when I walked onto the set, he had literally just spilled coffee down the front of him. And it became a running gag through the interview. He was like, "Clumsy me," and he was like, "Did you want a cup of coffee?" I go, If you want me to if you want me to be in solidarity, I will spill coffee down the front of me too, John Ritter." And the interview, Chef's Kiss, it was with Katie Seagal. That was his co-star back. He was debuting a show called Eight Simple Rules.
Yes, I remember that show. It was very funny.
Yeah, it was a pre-fame Katie Cuoco who was in that show before she went on to Big Bang Theory. Anyway, with the interview, a little slice of heaven because he was just totally present, gregarious, engaged. But the best part, this is the thing that really threw me off about John Ritter in a good way. He probably had 40 more interviews after me. And at the very end of the day, I think I was going to like craft services or something. And I was walking back and John Ritter is walking down the hallway. He goes, "Michael, good job today." And it wasn't like I was wearing a name tag. I was like, "God, John Ritter remembered my name." So it warmed the cockles of my
Yeah.
heart,
So
Roshini. So
he was a real person.
yes, 150%. And then he got through, that first season was a hit. And then he had like some sort of aortic dissection. Something happened and he passed away unexpectedly on the set.
Yeah. A very sad thing, but you had some time with him that's just so precious and memorable. What are some of the things that you've learned from talking with these celebrities? And, many of the Crisis Files listeners and viewers are business people. But what are some lessons from those interviews that you can impart on Crisis Filers?
Um, can we talk about the fact that I needed to learn to shut up? That was the crux of that was problematic in my early years because I wasn't ever paying attention to what any celebrity was saying because I was busy thinking about the next thing I was going to ask. And so I would miss those little nuances or those little things
They could have
where
been gold nuggets.
gold nuggets where I could have been like, well, elaborate on that or whatever. Nope. It was the Charlie, as far as I'm concerned, it could have been anybody. And I would have been like, "Boo." I was not listening to anything they were saying because I was just waiting for them to stop talking so I could ask my next question. And then I learned pretty much through trial and error to shut up and pay attention, be present and listen. And that is what I want to share with your listeners today.
Well, and that is one of the biggest lessons for salespeople, but really all leaders. And we talk about in my work with clients, active listening. Are you an active listener? So to be an active listener, you also need to close your mouth so that you can even just set yourself up to be that active listener. So thank you for sharing that. I'm also really impressed with the deep, what I call audience analysis that you do on all of these people that you're going to interview, that deep research. And what are some of the nuggets you can share with us where that has really turned into gold and rainbows for you?
I think here's like a perfect example because while I have not interviewed her yet, she's at the pinnacle of my list is Dolly Parton. And Dolly, if you're watching this, and I know that you probably are, you are the one who hasn't got away yet, but I will interview you eventually. But I have done so much research on some of these celebrities, including Dolly, that I know probably more about Dolly Parton than she does. So if and when that 4-minute interview happens, I'm going to barrage her with the most wackadoo questions, including I'm going to go out of the gate with why she has such a love of Velveeta cheese. Not a lot of people know that Dolly is
I did not know that. And
Now
that's
you
a
know.
little suspect, but I can conjure some guesses as to why that is. Michael, my recommendation here would be that you just figure out where she's going to be, find out when she's going to be. Is it Dollywood? When she's in Dollywood, and just show up in Dollywood. How could she not do that interview with you?
I mean, but I don't want to come across as a stalker. I think that's also kind of my cross to bear as well. So,
Well, you
yeah,
know the Velveeta thing, so I don't know
I
that you
do
could
know
seem
that I
like a
could show up
stalker.
with Velveeta. We
Show
could
up,
instead of
truck of Velveeta, pull in with a truckload of Velveeta. That's going to get her attention, and it will land you the interview.
Hallelujah. Amen.
That is my tip. That is my tip. All right. So one of the things, not to, turn completely to the serious, but you also share in this memoir along the way, in between these amazing interviews with celebs, you yourself had some health crises. You lost your parents. I mean, so many things were happening in this journey, and you decided to share all of that. Very, very real.
Forget the 1-2 punch. It was more like the 1-2-3-4-5 punch. And as I was putting the book together, my publisher, bless, he said, these the interview stuff is great, but where's the part about how you nearly keeled over dead from a stroke? Because I did 15 years ago. I had it was a right cerebral infarction, and it took me quite a while to recover from that. He said, you've been in recovery for 10 years. Where's the chapter on sobriety? Where's the chapter on you losing your parents? And I thought about it and I was like, ooh, I need to go back and, for lack of a better term, Michael Mackieify this. And those actually turned out to be the best chapters.
Yeah, very real. So I recommend you have 4 minutes to all of you. I mean, it's uplifting while at the same time real, and also gives us that nice sneak peek behind the lives of celebrities. And one of them is, Kansas City's media darling himself, Michael Mackie.
Media darling.
And all of these people, what they have in common is they're human. They might be on a stage, they might make a lot more money than many of us, but they're human, and that is the commonality here of all these characters in your story.
A lot of times celebrities, the thing that sort of, I don't want to say is annoying for them, but people feel like they know you just because they see you on stage, they see you on TV, they hear you on the radio, whatever. You have this sort of accidental kindred spirit. You have this accidental bond. And that can be, for some celebrities, it can be a little cumbersome because their stage persona is completely different than what you get, in real life. And a lot of times I'll get celebrities who are jazz hands, spirit fingers, they're on for the sake of being on. But a lot of times And sometimes I get more than 4 minutes. Sometimes if you get more than 4 minutes, you can really get real with some of them. You can wear them down a little bit and I say that in a good way, wear them down.
Yeah.
Like Darius Rucker. I chatted up Darius Rucker, and I didn't know that he was such a fan of Great Britain. He bought a house there. I didn't know that. And he just went off on this tangent about England. And because I had shut up, I learned a lot about why he loves English people and how he has a radio show on BBC Two of all things.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
No,
Maybe we could get the Crisis Files on BBC Two. All right, well, we cannot let you go without talking about one of your all-time faves, the group B-52s, and your special relationship with the lead singer.
I love the B-52s with every fiber of my being. In fact, there are 52 chapters in the book as an ode, as an homage to my favorite group of all time.
I didn't even realize that piece. Wow.
52 chapters as an homage to the B-52s. And they have always been my favorite group. I can tell you exactly where I was when time stopped in 1983 when I saw their very first video on MTV, Legal Tender. It was amazing. And I manifested myself becoming friends with the B-52s. And over the years, that's actually happened because I've interviewed each of them at one point or another. And I've become, I don't want to say chummy, but chummy. And so when I was putting the book together, my publisher challenged me to get a celebrity to write the foreword. And I was like, oh, and you know what? I wanted Cindy Wilson to write the foreword. And so I asked her people, and her people said, who are you? And I said, I'm Michael Mackie. Anyway, long story short, Cindy, if you do nothing else when you read the book, read the foreword.
Read the foreword.
It is the most warm, genuine thing. It like makes the book. And it's the thing I'm literally the thing I'm most proud of. On the cover, foreword by Cindy Wilson of the B-52s.
Yes, really amazing. Well, Michael Mackie, who I met in 1999 when I was a reporter in Des Moines, Iowa at KCCI.
You were such a baby.
I was such a baby. And I actually had very short hair when I first started there. What I want to say is congratulations not only on this first book, but on surviving your own health situations. Congrats on staying sober. And, of course, letting the spirit of your parents carry you through to finish the book project. I'm sure they're very, very proud of you.
The book is dedicated to them. They could never figure out how in the world I could make a living stringing words together because mom was an accountant and dad was an engineer, and how they gave birth to a creative. It's one of the great mysteries of life, Roshini.
Well, I'm not big on plugging books, but I will plug this one. You have 4 minutes. It's a really good slogan for life, motto for life. It's also just such a good read. It will uplift you. And by the way, he has a copy too. You can get more of Michael at michaelmackie.com. This case file is powered by Mall of America. Mall of America. Great shopping. A dazzling and dizzying variety of attractions and restaurants. Did you realize Mall of America also hosts hundreds of events each year? Everything from high-fashion runway shows to visits from the hottest musicians, pop-up celebrations ahead of movie premieres, charity-related walks, and holiday-themed experiences. You never know what you will find at our mall. For upcoming events and happenings, check out mallovamerica.com. Rate, review, and subscribe to The Crisis Files on your platform of choice. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram at The Crisis Files. Visit thecrisisfiles.com for all seasons of the show. I'm Roshini Rajkumar. Join me next time on The Crisis Files.